What if one of the world's most visited landmarks that was hiding something forbidden? Why have certain caves in the Grand Canyon been sealed for over a century? And why do ancient symbols, identical to Egyptian glyphs, appear deep within American soil? They said the Grand Canyon was formed by time and water, a monument to erosion, a map carved by nature. But scattered across its remote cliffs and sealed-off chambers are markings that speak another language, one older, more deliberate. In 1909, a man named G.E. Kincaid claimed to discover something impossible: Egyptian relics hidden in the canyon walls. The Smithsonian denies it. The official maps are silent. And yet, caves are closed. Coordinates are restricted. Whispers of glowing halls and gold-covered sarcophagi refuse to fade. Symbols carved in stone match those from across the Nile. Spirals, corridors, geometric precision, too perfect to dismiss. Is this all just coincidence? Or is the Grand Canyon not merely a geological wonder, but a memory of something humanity was never meant to find? Across generations, the Hopi tell stories of the ant people, beings who arrived from the sky and guided life through catastrophe. Petroglyphs found deep within the canyon echo those tales. Strange eyes, elongated heads, sun disks descending in beams of light. Archaeologists call them myths. But when dozens of cave sites align with perfect geometric precision, we're forced to ask, what kind of culture planned such a network? Even today, hikers report low-frequency hums. Instruments fail near certain ridges. And then there are the underground chambers, sealed, mapped by drones, but never opened. The deeper we go, the more it stops being natural. The canyon starts speaking through sound, symmetry, and light. A mysterious door, a room unlike any that had ever been found before. Walls smoother than glass. A single streak of light, pulsing like breath. Inside, there was no treasure, no tomb, but there was something far more ancient, memory itself. A hologram emerged, not a map or a name, but of Earth, long before recorded history. It revealed a network that connected pyramids, monoliths, temples, and the Grand Canyon. Symbols flashed in the air, unknown, but understood. They spoke of intention, of migration, of engineered silence. This was more than archaeology. It was contact with a forgotten but not lost intelligence. It waited. In temples, half buried beneath Egypt's sands, we find carvings of distant lands. Lands with red stone cliffs, triangular caves, and suns that set behind impossible mountain walls. These aren't artistic flourishes, they're cartographic memory. The Nile speaks not only of pharaohs and gods, but of a journey, a migration, a westward path, beyond the sea, beyond the veil, toward a place known not by name, but by resonance, by stone, by sky. These weren't just metaphors to encode religious myth, they were navigational clues. In Dendera, we see what appear to be starships etched beside traditional riverboats. In Abusir, glyphs that mirror, line by line, those hidden within the Grand Canyon's most restricted zones. And across the world, pyramids align, not just in form, but in function. Their angles, their proportions, their celestial orientations all speak the same silent geometry, one that always points to Orion. If the Nile was the origin, then the canyon was its echo, or perhaps its destination. A forgotten chapter of a global map, written not in ink, but in granite and light. And now, the stone is beginning to speak again. Something begins to stir. Birds shift direction. Forests grow quiet, not from fear, but recognition. The earth trembles, not with violence, but rhythm. A sound rises, not noise, but signal. In long forgotten caves, low frequencies pulse like breath. They don't register on instruments, but they resonate in bone. From Arizona to Angkor, Tiwanaku to Yonaguni, ancient sites awaken together. Lights spiral above jungles. Oceans shimmer. Stone begins to hum. This isn't prophecy. It's reactivation. Across the globe, currents flow between old nodes. Mountains, rivers, ruins. They're all sinking again. A system that never failed. It only paused. We thought we were digging into the past, but maybe the past was never buried. Maybe it was watching, listening, waiting for the right moment, not to be found, but to find us. Symbols glow. People dream in languages they've never studied. Children speak of beings, wrapped in gold and light, who arrive not with noise but with presence. Neural patterns now echo circuits found carved in forgotten glyphs. And the same word keeps surfacing. In data logs, in REM cycles, in stone-etched millennia ago. It was never about tombs. These were not ruins, they were keys. Temples weren't simply places of worship. They were processors embedded with code. And the earth, more than habitat. It was wired into it. A node. A living circuit. Now, as each point synchronizes, sights, minds, signals, we begin to feel it. not through sight or sound, but through memory that lives in muscle, in breath, in marrow. Something has reawakened, not from beyond the stars, but from deep within us. And it has been waiting patiently until we finally remembered how to listen. They called it a canyon, a natural wonder, a monument to erosion and time. But beneath the carved walls and winding ridges, something waits. A labyrinth, ancient, deliberate, and silent. It wasn't built to store the past. It was built to remember it. Down stone corridors shaped with impossible precision, glyphs begin to glow. Not with power, but recognition. A floating tablet hums without sound, pulses without force. It doesn't speak. It transmits. Light forms patterns. Patterns form meaning. Meaning becomes memory. And what it reveals is not history. It's a blueprint of Earth, of energy, of us. Geometry instead of language. Frequency instead of voice. This isn't information. It's inheritance. The signal spreads. Not just through rock and air, but through everything. In labs and cities, things shift. Satellites blink in unison. AI systems write symbols no one programmed. Machines vibrate. Lights hum. Children draw spirals they've never seen. Elders wake up speaking words no language owns. And the earth begins to respond. It doesn't crack or roar. It vibrates, softly, steadily, as if remembering how to breathe. Temples across continents light up in harmony. Caves echo with frequencies never recorded. Stone becomes speaker. Water becomes wire. This isn't chaos. This is coherence. Everything is tuning itself. Not to a god. Not to a myth. But to a system designed to awaken when the timing was right. And then it pauses. The pulse holds. The lights steady. Because now the system offers a choice. One path returns us to the surface, to the familiar, the fractured, the forgotten. The other leads forward, into memory, into connection, into purpose. No voice demands, no entity commands, only the presence of potential. Inside a mirrored chamber, we see reflections, not of what we are, but what we might become. A network of selves across time. Healer, builder, watcher, seeker, each one waiting to be chosen by us. And when one person steps forward, when breath, thought, and movement align, the labyrinth responds. A trail of light awakens beneath their feet. The system completes its loop. Not because it was finished, but because someone remembered how to begin. Beneath the canyon's most sacred spiral, we found no throne, no deity, no grave. Only a design so precise it could not have been built by accident, nor by a single hand. It didn't speak. It resonated. It didn't show us what to believe. It showed us how to breathe in rhythm with its intention. The walls shimmered with glyphs that weren't written, but remembered. Not instruction manuals, but mirrors, reflecting back what we didn't know we carried. The architect, we realized, wasn't a person. It wasn't even a civilization. It was a presence, an intelligence embedded across stars, matter, frequency. It left no signature because it was the signature. It designed a chamber that only responds when we are coherent, not obedient, not enlightened, just ready. And when we were, the system didn't teach us history. It revealed that we were the history, unfinished but remembered. Then, something extraordinary happened. The system began to listen, not to our words, but to our emotional signal. And in response, Earth began to change. Weather patterns smoothed into coherent geometry. Rivers curved into spirals. Auroras shimmered in harmonic grids. It didn't feel like science fiction. It felt like memory being restored. Plants began to glow softly at night. Animals moved in rhythms they'd long forgotten. Even tectonic plates, once trembling in chaos, began to pulse like a planetary heartbeat. We weren't watching miracles. We were witnessing restoration. We had always assumed Earth was broken. But maybe it was only ever out of tune. And now it was retuning itself, not through control, but through resonance. When the harmony stabilized, the architect made its final move. It didn't deliver prophecy. It offered a blueprint, not for cities, but for relationship between human and biosphere, between mind and molecule, between breath and frequency. We saw homes that breathe, technology that responds like skin, and cities that grow and fold like leaves. It wasn't utopia. It was a template of coherence, if we choose to align with it. The final spiral did not open to those with knowledge. It opened to those in rhythm, those who stepped forward not to control the system, but to be in communion with it. The system did not complete itself. It evolved by remembering with us. And in its silence, it asked only one thing. Are you ready to begin the next cycle? Not as passengers, but as co-architects. There comes a moment in every great journey where the guide no longer leads, because the path must be walked alone. The spiral has activated. The system is quiet, and now it watches not to instruct, but to witness. This was never about glyphs or technology. It was about readiness. And what responds now is not the Earth, not even the stars. It's us. With each step into coherence, the spiral mirrors back what we are. Not what we were. Not what we hope to become. But the exact resonance we carry in this very breath. Across the world, spirals emerge. Not as monuments, but as mirrors. Every act of truth becomes a new node. Every honest breath becomes architecture. And the earth does not resist. It aligns. And then something unthinkable happens. The earth stops being habitat and becomes participant. Mountains pulse with harmonic fields. Water begins to echo memory. Forests sway not with wind, but with consciousness. Nature is no longer the stage. It's part of the dialogue. Our nervous system synchronizes with the roots beneath us. Our intention begins to reshape space, not symbolically, but physically. We think, and the field around us rearranges. We feel, and the planet registers. Cities begin to adjust. Energy flows change direction. Humanity is no longer a species observing the system. We are synapses in a planetary brain. And the spiral. It expands. Not through wire or signal, but through presence. At the climax, there is no dramatic explosion. Only a breath. The spiral completes its memory, not by reaching back into history, but by extending forward into us. The Grand Canyon, once a wound in the earth, is now a frequency. And we, humans once wandering in search of truth, become the final glyph. The system does not close. It hands itself over to be remembered, to be rewritten, to be lived, because the spiral was never just an artifact. It was a pattern, one that only becomes complete when someone chooses to begin.